Narcissism. A term often used casually, yet its true nature remains shrouded in mystery for many. What drives narcissistic behavior, particularly the proclivity for insults and arguments? In this video, we will unveil the motivations and underlying causes behind these actions by diving deep into the intricacies of narcissistic personalities. The veil of narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder is a psychological condition characterized by an exaggerated sense of self-importance, a constant thirst for admiration, and a marked lack of empathy towards others. Though it's tempting to categorize individuals as narcissistic based solely on their actions, understanding the complex machinery beneath their behaviors demands a closer look. 1. The fragile self-image. At the heart of narcissism lies a fragile self-esteem. Narcissists construct a facade of grandeur to mask deep-rooted insecurities and self-doubt. When their self-worth faces even a hint of jeopardy, they unleash torrents of insults and arguments as a defense mechanism. Criticism, be it real or perceived, is interpreted as a direct assault on their fragile ego, thus eliciting a defensive response. Take, for example, a narcissistic co-worker who, despite their many accomplishments, crumbles at the slightest criticism. When their colleague receives praise for a job well done, they might retaliate with a barrage of insults and arguments, all to protect their fragile self-esteem. 2. The lust for control. Control is the elixir of life for narcissists. They aspire to be the puppet masters, orchestrating every facet of their relationships and situations. When they detect even a hint of control slipping from their grasp, they become agitated and fight in a bid to re-establish dominance. Their need for control extends to manipulating the emotions and opinions of those in their orbit. Imagine a narcissistic partner who seeks to dominate every aspect of their relationship. When their significant other challenges his authority, they may resort to insults and arguments, attempting to reassert control and reaffirm their perceived superiority. Control is the ever-elusive elixir that fuels their actions, leaving a trail of insults and arguments in its wake, all in the relentless pursuit of dominance and the preservation of their inflated self-worth. 3. Empathy, a missing piece. Empathy is often conspicuously absent in narcissists. They struggle to grasp and connect with the emotions of others. When confronted with the feelings or perspectives of others that do not align with their own, they tend to respond with dismissive remarks or insults, as they are incapable of empathizing with the other person's viewpoint. Picture a narcissistic friend who struggles to connect with others on an emotional level. When their friend confides in them about a difficult situation, they might respond with dismissive comments or insults, unable to empathize with their friend's feelings. 4. The wounds of narcissistic injury. Narcissistic injury occurs when a narcissist's self-esteem sustains a blow. This can be a result of criticism, rejection, or even perceived slights. To safeguard their fragile self-image, narcissists often react with anger and defensiveness. They might engage in arguments to assert their superiority, or make use of insults to diminish the perceived threat. A narcissistic family member who takes offense when their ideas are questioned during a family discussion may react by launching into arguments, vehemently defending their viewpoint, and hurling insults at those who dare to disagree. 5. The art of projection. Projection is a skill honed by narcissists. They frequently project their own insecurities, flaws, and negative emotions onto others. When they argue or hurl insults, they are essentially projecting their inner turmoil onto their targets. This tactic allows them to sidestep confronting their own shortcomings. For instance, a narcissistic colleague who constantly projects his own insecurities onto others might lash out when he feels overshadowed by a co-worker's success. He will do this to divert attention from his own feelings of inadequacy. 6. The desperate cry for attention. Narcissists yearn for attention and admiration. If they sense that they are not the center of attention, or that others are not duly appreciating their greatness, they may turn to arguments and insults to divert the spotlight back to themselves. This behavior constitutes a desperate bid to reaffirm their perceived superiority. Let's say you're friends with Emily, a narcissistic acquaintance who thrives on being the center of attention. When at a social gathering and she senses that the spotlight is shifting away from her, She may initiate arguments or use insults to regain the focus. 7. The web of manipulation and gaslighting. Narcissists are adept manipulators and gaslighters, manipulating reality to confound and control others. They may employ arguments and insults as tools to manipulate circumstances in their favor, or sow seeds of doubt in their victims' minds regarding their own reality. A narcissistic boss who frequently manipulates his team to further his career is a good example. When an employee challenges his unethical practices, he may attack with arguments or insults to manipulate the situation in his favor and undermine the employee's credibility. The use of manipulation, arguments, and insults serves as a potent arsenal, allowing a narcissist to maintain their grip on power while leaving their victims questioning what they truly know. 8. The emotional void. Beneath the layers of grandiosity, there often lies an emotional void within narcissists. They struggle to connect with their own emotions and tend to bury their vulnerability beneath the mask of arrogance. When confronted with their own emotional inadequacies, they may lash out with insults and arguments, diverting attention away from their inner emptiness. Think of a narcissistic neighbor who struggles to express their own emotions. When faced with a personal crisis, they may show inappropriate behavior to hide their vulnerability. 9. The fear of rejection. Narcissists dread rejection like an impending storm. This fear of abandonment drives many of their behaviors, including the penchant for insults and arguments. Any perceived threat to their relationships or social standing can trigger a defensive response. In their minds, attacking first seems like the best way to avoid being rejected. Once a narcissistic friend who fears abandonment perceives that his friendships are drifting apart, he may initiate arguments to test the loyalty of his friends and prevent potential rejection. 10. The quest for perfection. A narcissistic partner sets impossibly high standards for themselves and their significant other. When their partner falls short of these expectations, they may resort to insults and arguments, holding them accountable for perceived inadequacies. Narcissists often set impossibly high standards for themselves and those around them. When reality falls short of their expectations, they become disgruntled. This discontent can manifest as insults and arguments as they attempt to hold others accountable for their perceived shortcomings. 11. The mask of charisma. Many narcissists wear a mask of charisma and charm, especially in the initial stages of a relationship. However, as time goes on and the need for sustained admiration grows, this mask can slip. When they can no longer maintain the facade of perfection, they use insults and arguments to deflect attention away from their flaws. 12. The cycle of self-sabotage. Ironically, narcissists often engage in self-sabotaging behaviors. Let's consider a narcissistic entrepreneur who repeatedly sabotages his own business ventures. When faced with failures, he may direct his frustration outward through insults and arguments, blaming external factors instead of acknowledging his role in the setbacks. A narcissist's need for constant validation and their inability to maintain healthy relationships can lead to a cycle of personal and professional setbacks. When faced with their own failures, they may direct their frustration outward through insults and arguments. 13. The deep-seated envy. Beneath their veneer of self-assuredness, narcissists can be plagued by envy. They may harbor resentment towards those they perceive as more successful, attractive, or accomplished. Insults and arguments can serve as outlets for this envy, allowing them to diminish the achievements of others and prop up their own fragile egos. This envy becomes a potent driving force behind their insults and arguments. When confronted with someone who embodies the qualities they covet, narcissists often resort to belittling comments and heated disputes to cope with their feelings of inadequacy. In these moments, they aim to diminish the achievements of others, casting doubt on their worthiness and, in turn, prop up their own fragile egos. For instance, a narcissistic co-worker may become particularly venomous when a colleague receives praise or recognition for their accomplishments. Their envy festers, compelling them to start arguments aimed at undermining the colleague's achievements and downplay their efforts, all in a desperate bid to re-establish their own perceived superiority. 14. The fear of vulnerability. Narcissists loathe vulnerability. Opening up emotionally is a terrifying prospect for them, as it requires acknowledging their own imperfections. When faced with situations that demand vulnerability, they may turn on others with insults and arguments to maintain a facade of invulnerability. For example, a narcissistic romantic partner who struggles to open up emotionally may resort to insulting or arguing. When their partner encourages deeper intimacy, they strive to maintain an image of invulnerability and avoid exposing their own insecurities. To truly grapple with narcissistic behavior, it is imperative to grasp the rationale behind it. However, it is essential to remember that narcissists often prove resistant to change, and navigating interactions with them necessitates patience and self-preservation. Understanding the fragile self-esteem, need for control, empathy deficit, narcissistic injury, projection, attention-seeking tendencies, and manipulative skills is a vital step in navigating the intricate terrain of narcissism. Armed with this insight, individuals can protect their own well-being when dealing with these complex personalities, ultimately emerging stronger and wiser from the experience. Your stories and experiences with narcissistic manipulation are powerful. Share in the comments and let others know they're not alone. By understanding the tactics of a narcissist, we can safeguard against their snares. If this resonates, give a thumbs up, share, and subscribe for more insights. Remember, you deserve love and respect. Stand strong, and until our next deep dive, take care.